He emptied out every last coin he had, hoping it would be enough for the cheapest meal on the menu, but even after dumping out every single coin, he was still 9 pence short. Swallowing what little pride he had left, he offered to sing a song in exchange. The shop owner just glanced at him and without a word, dumped the food straight into the sink. He'd rather throw it away than let this man keep 9 pence worth of dignity.
Thanks, mate. That's great.
Don't come back.
Okay.
Don't want you here. Go on.
All right. Okay, I'm going.
James swallows the plea that almost slips out of his mouth and silently turns away, heading toward the corner he knows all too well, where he fights the rats for whatever scraps people have tossed aside. This is just his life now. As for tomorrow, he doesn't let himself think about it. James is a homeless street musician, and a beat-up old guitar is the only thing he owns. He pours every ounce of emotion and struggle into his songs, but not a single passerby ever stops to listen. Only security guards ever bother to acknowledge him, chasing him off wherever he goes. One day, while James is singing on the street, a familiar face passes by, his father. The instant their eyes meet, his father tenses up and speeds up his pace, like he's trying to avoid catching a disease. James chases after him, his voice trembling with a fragile kind of hope, asking softly if he could maybe come home for a proper meal, since Christmas is coming up. Before his father can even respond, his stepmother cuts in with a sharp, cutting refusal.
Unfortunately, our table's full, so...
Always room for one more at Christmas. No?
The contempt and disdain in her eyes are impossible to hide, as if James's mere existence is some kind of shame to bear. His father just stands there, awkward and helpless, caught silently between his wife and his son. Before turning to leave, he secretly slips James a 50-pound note, a small gesture of the guilt he still carries somewhere inside, then walks away without looking back, off to rejoin his new family. Watching his father's back disappear, James is a mess of conflicting emotions. He's not just a homeless musician, he's also deep in the grip of addiction. The night his family turned him away, a so-called friend broke into someone's car.
Yo, Elvis, get in.
Then he hands James something that looks almost like candy, an illegal drug. James knows exactly what kind of trouble it means, but he can't resist the pull and he slips back under again. The next morning, the car's owner finds two strangers curled up inside. The friend who lured James into it has already vanished, leaving James alone, passed out cold to face the consequences by himself. No matter how loudly the owner shouts, James doesn't stir. When he finally opens his eyes again, he's lying in a hospital bed, and standing in front of him is Val, the doctor who once helped him get clean, her eyes full of disappointment and heartbreak for him.
I'm sorry. I know I made a mistake on this.
Tell me something I haven't already heard 20 times today. You OD. You know this stuff.
Yep.
Do it again and you'll probably die.
Even so, Val refuses to give up on him. After learning about his situation, she works tirelessly and finally manages to secure him a spot in government-assisted housing. It's small, but it's enough to keep the weather out. A real home in every sense of the word. So stable it almost doesn't feel real to James. Just as he starts to settle into this hard-won peace, a rustling noise suddenly comes from outside the door. Years of living on the street have left him hyper-alert, and he tenses instantly.
Whoever's there, you better leave!
Assuming it's a burglar, he grabs a smelly old shoe as a makeshift weapon and creeps toward the noise. But when he finally throws open the kitchen door, the burglar turns out to be nothing more than a handsome orange cat, quietly munching on some spilled cereal. Seeing this, the tension drains right out of James. Maybe it's because he knows exactly what it feels like to go hungry and cold, but something in him softens toward this little creature that's wandered in uninvited. Instead of chasing it out, he pours out the last of his milk for it, without a second thought. That night, James finds himself with a furry companion by his side. He sits on the floor playing guitar and singing, and the cat curls up quietly beside him, the most loyal audience he's ever had. Two lonely souls find something to lean on in each other, and for the first time, the little room doesn't feel so empty anymore. The next morning, James carries the cat around, knocking on doors to find its owner, but learns nobody's claiming it. Part of him wants to keep it, but he knows all too well he can barely take care of himself, let alone another living creature. In the end, he reluctantly leaves the cat on the street corner and walks away.
Take care of yourself.
Once a bond like that forms, it's hard to just walk away from. That same day, James comes home exhausted after another fruitless day of busking, only to find the same orange cat sitting right outside his door, waiting for him, except now one of its legs is badly hurt. James's heart clenches instantly, and he can't bring himself to leave it behind again. He wraps it in his coat right away and rushes to his neighbor Betty, who he knows loves animals, for help. After examining the cat, Betty discovers the wound has already started festering. It's serious, and without proper treatment soon, infection could kill it. James rushes it straight to a charity animal hospital. Luckily, the cat gets treated quickly, but as they're about to leave, the nurse hands him a bill. The treatment itself is free, but the medication costs £22, an astronomical sum for James right now, basically an entire week's living expenses. Embarrassed, he pulls out every loose coin he has, hoping they'll cut him a break, but all he gets back is the nurse's indifferent, practiced expression. Looking down at the weak little cat in his arms, he ends up handing over the 50 pounds his father gave him, trading it for the cat's health. Back home, giving the cat its medicine turns into its own battle. The cat wants nothing to do with it and bites James's hand while struggling. At a loss, he turns to Betty again, and surprisingly, the cat goes completely calm in her hands, taking the medicine without any fuss. While chatting, the two of them decide to name the cat Bob. Thanks to Bob, James and Betty gradually grow closer. Betty tells him there are quite a few addicts in the neighborhood, and Bob was most likely hurt by one of them. There's real disgust in her voice as she says it, because her own brother, once a brilliant painter, spiraled into addiction and eventually died because of it. When Betty asks about James's own situation, he hesitates, not wanting to be looked down on for being an addict himself, so he lies and says he's just an unsigned freelance musician. He has no idea this small, well-meaning lie will come back to complicate things between them later, and he definitely doesn't expect that this little cat, Bob, is about to completely rewrite the course of his life. The next day, James heads out with his guitar to busk, assuming Bob will stay put at home, but he doesn't notice the cat has secretly followed him. When he boards a double-decker bus, Bob slips on unnoticed, and the other passengers are instantly charmed, breaking into warm smiles. Bob searches anxiously through the bus and finally finds James upstairs, jumping quietly into his arms.
What are you doing here?
Surprised and delighted all at once, James settles Bob securely on his shoulder, and just like that, a one-of-a-kind duo is born. In the past, passers-by never gave this down-and-out young man a second glance, but now, this unlikely pair becomes the most eye-catching thing on the street. People slow down, smile, and stop to ask for photos. When James starts playing, something remarkable happens. The duo draws a crowd and tips start pouring in. For the first time, he feels what it's like to actually be seen, and it turns out to be the most money he's ever made in one day. After the show, looking at the guitar case overflowing with cash, James excitedly praises Bob for being magic, and on the bus ride home, he lets Bob pick out his favorite canned food with the money they earned. From that day on, James and Bob become the most beloved duo on the street, adored by everyone who passes by, and slowly James's rough life starts turning around. Even better, Betty starts stopping by more often, talking about cats, about music, and without either of them quite noticing, something warm starts growing between them. But life is never short on surprises. Just as James starts to believe this newfound stability might actually last, his past comes knocking once again.
Off the streets and all.
What are you doing here?
I just thought I'd follow a friendly face. I thought maybe I could crash with you for a bit, you know?
His old addict friend, hearing James is doing better now, asks if he can crash with him. James, having already sworn off drugs for good, gently turns him down. But for old time's sake, he still can't help softening, handing over some cash and telling him to buy food, and to please stay away from drugs. The next day, James runs into that same friend on the street, except now he's collapsed on the sidewalk, barely breathing from an overdose, drug paraphernalia scattered next to him. James screams for help.
Baz, wake up, can somebody call an ambulance?
Betty hears the commotion and rushes over, immediately starting CPR, but it's already too late. By the time the ambulance arrives, his friend's heart has already stopped. Watching a life slip away right in front of them leaves both of them shattered, and it reopens an old wound for Betty. She tells James that her own brother died from drug use too, which is exactly why she despises addicts so much. Between his friend's death and Betty's own history, James finally makes up his mind, once and for all, to get clean. But he still can't bring himself to tell Betty the truth, that he was once one of them too. Christmas arrives soon after, and James, gifts carefully wrapped and Bob by his side, heads to his father's house, hoping to finally feel that warmth of family again. But the moment he arrives, he sees his father happily surrounded by his two other kids through the window. He still knocks anyway. But the second the door opens, the smile on his father's face instantly freezes.
Happy New Year.
His arrival brings his father no joy at all, just an unmistakable wave of discomfort and awkwardness. Once inside, he's met, once again, with his half-sister's cold, dismissive attitude.
And Mummy doesn't like you. Mummy says you're a junkie.
Their sharp little words, childish as they are, cut into James like knives. His father doesn't scold the kids for it. Instead, he quietly urges James to leave as soon as possible. The commotion startles Bob, who leaps out of James's arms and sends the whole room into chaos. He knocks over a vase, then crashes into the carefully decorated Christmas tree. In the end, with his stepmother screaming at him, James has no choice but to gather Bob and leave, humiliated from a home that should have been his but no longer has any room for him. Trouble doesn't come alone, and more hardship follows close behind. One day, while James is busking as usual, a man walks by with a dog and lets it urinate on James's belongings, mocking him cruelly the whole time. A crowd gathers, unable to stand by, and things quickly spiral into chaos.
It's him, it's not me.
James is taken to the police station. Security footage clears him of any wrongdoing, but because of his history with drugs, the police ban him from busking on the streets for 6 months. With his only source of income gone, James's life falls apart all over again. Under the crushing pressure, he stops taking his medication, and once the cravings return, he panics and rushes to the pharmacy to buy drugs, only to run straight into Betty on the way. When she learns he's been hiding his history as an addict this whole time, she's furious, and no matter how James tries to explain, she refuses to forgive him. Just like that, their relationship is over. Hit hard by both the collapse of his career and his relationship, James spirals again. At the supermarket, he's down to his last few coins. The money he'd saved slipping away fast. He knows he can go hungry if he has to, but his cat can't. For Bob's sake, he pulls himself together and finds a job selling street magazines, a charity publication designed to help homeless people get back on their feet. To his surprise, Bob's good luck charm effect kicks in again. Whenever the cat perches obediently on his shoulder, business booms. The little orange cat's charm works like a magnet, drawing people in. Even those with no interest in the magazine are happy to spend a few pounds just to get close to him. Before long, James's life is back on track, and he even becomes something of a local celebrity on the streets of London, catching the attention of journalists.
Do you mind if I did a story on you and the cat?
You taking the mic?
They take photos of the man and his cat, planning to write a heartwarming feature about a homeless man and a stray cat saving each other. One day, while James is out selling magazines, he runs into a mother and her young son. The boy takes one look at Bob and instantly falls in love, begging his mother to buy the cat for him.
Well, actually, what I mean is I'd be willing to take him. Well, to buy him. Even how
He's
much?
not for sale.
Unable to say no to her son, the woman turns to guilt-tripping James instead, telling him his income is too unstable, that Bob is doomed to suffer following a homeless man around, and offering a large sum of money with a tone dripping with condescension. When James refuses, she gets angry and hurls the magazine to the ground in a huff. The sudden noise, combined with a nearby dog barking wildly, startles Bob so badly that he leaps off James's shoulder and disappears, chased off by the dog. Under the fading light of sunset, James searches from day into night, calling out desperately, but there's no sign of Bob anywhere. For an entire week without Bob, James feels like something essential has been ripped out of him. He loses all will to keep going, sinking into total despair. The street dealers reappear, and that old terrifying pull starts wearing at him again. But when the dealer asks what he wants, he thinks of the warmth Bob brought into his life, thinks of the promise he made to himself. He doesn't want to fall back into that darkness, not after coming this far. His resolve slowly hardens.
I want my cat. I'm looking for a ginger cat. Have you seen it anywhere?
Maybe it was fate looking out for him. As he drags himself home exhausted, a faint familiar meow reaches his ears. James scoops Bob up, overwhelmed, kissing him over and over. The sheer joy of getting him back makes something click into place. Once you've known what real companionship feels like, you can never go back to living with that kind of loss. James goes to see Val, the addiction doctor, hoping she can help him get completely clean and reclaim a normal, free life, and he decides to stop taking all his medication cold turkey. Val warns him this road will be 100 times worse than the worst flu he's ever had, and that many people fail right at the very last stretch. James just looks down at Bob in his arms and says something quiet but resolute.
Got him. Got me this far.
Before starting detox, James sincerely apologizes to Betty, owning up to the lies and the hiding he'd done before.
I'm sorry that I've disappointed you.
Betty doesn't say much in response, but quietly puts together a week's worth of food for him anyway. With everything in place, James locks himself and Bob inside and begins the hardest battle of his life, the fight against himself. Withdrawal hits him like a tidal wave. For the first couple of days, he can still distract himself with his guitar, but as time drags on, he loses control, becoming increasingly agitated and volatile. His body and mind push to their absolute limits, burning hot one moment, like he's trapped in a furnace, freezing cold the next, like he's been dropped into ice. At his worst, he starts hallucinating, dousing himself with cold water over and over, tying his own hands to keep from hurting himself as he convulses on the floor in agony. Every time the pain threatens to swallow him whole, it's Bob's meowing that pulls him back to reality. After what feels like an endless stretch of suffering, one morning, warm sunlight finally spills through the window onto his bed. James opens his eyes, wrapped in a clarity and calm he hasn't felt in years. He's finally completely reborn. Stepping outside with Bob, he realizes just how beautiful the world outside really is, the air itself thick with the feeling of freedom. The first thing James does is share the good news with Val, and she's genuinely thrilled for him. Full of hope, he heads over to see Betty, only to find her in the middle of packing up to move.
What's going on? You're moving.
Yeah, going home for a while.
Right.
I can't stay here. It's not my life.
Still, before he leaves, Betty hands him a gift and her new address.
For you. I I made this one. It hangs over you.
Yeah, I know what these are. Thank you.
That's my address, my parents' address is where I'll be staying.
Elizabeth Robinson.
It's my real name.
Maybe there's something unspoken tucked inside that note, a quiet hint of something more hanging in the air between them. Then he heads to his final stop. Taking a deep breath, he knocks gently on the door. Seeing his son standing there transformed, his father is completely stunned. James tells him first about successfully getting clean, then apologizes for everything he'd done wrong before his father is overwhelmed, moved beyond words.
I wanted to apologize for everything. I don't blame you for giving up on me.
With trembling hands, his father pulls out a worn, faded photo from his wallet. It's James as a little boy. His voice cracks, thick with guilt and years of quiet longing.
I didn't give up on you. I was ashamed of myself.
Only then does James understand his father's love and worry had never actually gone away. All these years, they just never knew how to say it to each other.
I'm the one who needs to apologize.
Right then, his stepmother's voice calls out from inside, asking who's at the door.
Jack, what are you doing out there?
His father lifts his head and answers, loud and unmistakably proud.
I'm talking to my son.
That single sentence breaks down years of walls between father and son. All the buried resentment and distance finally fully dissolves in that moment. Not long after, the story of the man and his cat goes viral online, and a newspaper approaches James, asking him to write about his and Bob's journey together. The book takes off the moment it's released. On the day of the launch event, the place is packed, with a line stretching out the door. All the most important people in his life show up. Betty, the woman he loves, Val, the doctor who never gave up on him, and his father and stepmother, all there, all proud of him. During the signing, another reader named James shows up to support him. Turns out, he's the real man behind this entire story, and that's where the story comes full circle. What makes it so moving isn't just the redemption arc of someone turning their life around, it's how real and unfiltered it all is. In the film, Bob is played by the actual cat himself. Every gesture full of genuine feeling, striking a chord unlike anything scripted ever could. Sadly, the real Bob passed away in a car accident in 2020, his life ending at 14. In his eulogy, James wrote, "A light in my life has gone out, and I will spend the rest of mine keeping its memory alive." That's the story for today. If there's a movie you'd like to see covered, let me know in the comments and subscribe for more great content.